Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to ChannelBK. Welcome to the final list of the year, the top 10 movies of the year. So exciting. I'm going to say first off, I haven't seen every movie this year. Something like The Revenant, which hasn't opened up here, like The Big Short, which I haven't seen, are not going to be included. Who knows if they would have been on my list, but I'm just going to say that as a general thing. And also, I have a few honorable mentions of movies that didn't make it. Beast of No Nation, very intense film. Idris Elba was incredible in it. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, practical stunts, and a great female lead, and Tom Cruise was just awesome. And at the Stanford Prison Experiment, which was definitely an intense watch, interesting nonetheless, and Sicario, great crime thriller, shot beautifully, and the acting was great. Benicio del Toro, Emily Blunt, all of them were great. And also, I'm going to give a shout out to Tangerine, which was a film that, even though I didn't love, I think the way it was shot was really aspiring for a lot of young filmmakers. The fact that it was all shot on iPhones, and it made a lot of big headlines at Sundance. But ironically, at my number 10 spot, I kind of have a film that ended up being a lot like Tangerine, and that is The Tribe. The silent Ukrainian film, hauntingly beautiful, but also hauntingly disturbing. Obviously, as you guys might have saw in my review, this film has only sign language, and there's no subtitles, and it's Ukrainian sign language, so even people in America can't really tell what they're saying. And it's just a film that stayed with me, and that's going to be a common theme in the list, is films that really stood out to me. And I've been kind of thinking about it a lot since I saw it, and it was definitely an interesting view. And yeah, the story wasn't really the most complex thing, or all the time maybe super interesting, but I was always engaged. And it was such a bold film, and I really loved it. And yes, I am considering it this year, because apparently, obviously, it came out last year, and the Ukraine and stuff, but it did open more wide in the United States and even the UK, I think, this year. So I'm counting it. At number 9, we're going to get this out of the way right now. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. First time I saw it, it wasn't actually going to be on my top 10. Second time I saw it, I actually loved it a lot more. Just such a fun movie. JJ, you did such a great job. Yeah, there was a couple flaws with it. It's not a perfect movie, but I still really loved it, enjoyed myself. Acting was great. I can't wait to see John Boyega, Daisy Ridley have such a big future, because they were great. Oscar Isaac, who's been having a great year. Domhnall Gleeson, who's been having a great year as well. Adam Driver, and obviously, you know, the old cast as well. Just such a fun movie, such a great way to return to the world of Star Wars. And again, like I was saying with Mission Impossible, practical effects. I loved it. Number 8, The Martian, directed by Ridley Scott, written by Drew Goddard, and starring Matt Damon. Again, another film that stayed with me. This is sort of the odd crowd-pleasing movie on a lot of people's lists, where it's sort of mainstream, but it also is smart, it's fun, it's serious, and it has a great cast that just extends everywhere. It's like 50 million people are in this movie. And again, it's such a great mix of Matt Damon's character, who's kind of a smartass, but it's also very intense with a lot of scenes, you know, trying to save Matt Damon from Mars, because we always gotta save Matt Damon, it seems like, somehow. And again, just a film that I think on so many levels worked great, and it's great to see Ridley Scott really back in that groove. At number 7, we got Ex Machina. Domhnall Gleeson and Oscar Isaac returned in some great roles, and Alicia Vikander as the AI robot Ava. And again, saw it 2 times, so interested the second time I watched it, and again, it's just beautifully shot. The score is incredible, and I think it takes from a couple films I love, like Under the Skin and Her, but I think it still works, you know? Like, I don't think it's a film that doesn't work because of the fact it's like that. I think it's a film that stuck with me, and it really asks a lot of questions, where also being very interesting, and I really respect that, and that's why I really enjoyed it. Number 6, The Hateful Eight. Obviously, it was going to be on this list. I loved this movie, and I think maybe because of the roadshow version, maybe I loved it a lot more than I was supposed to. But again, it was such an intense film. The mystery of it was great, and the acting across the board, Walton Goggins especially, I loved him. But other than that, Tarantino writing and just everything else was stellar, and I was gripped the whole entire time. And yeah, it might be sort of a cop-out only because films like this that come out so late get on your list because you loved it, but I still have been thinking about it, and I still want to go see it again. Number 5 is another film that I've been really wanting to try and see again, and that is Steve Jobs, the unlikely biopic on this list. Aaron Sorkin's writing, we don't even need to talk about it because it's just captivating, and this whole film is just electrifying. Every performance in here is just stellar, and it's just such an interesting arc, and the way it was sort of devised up into 3 different scenes and sort of 3 different product launches, and just everything surrounding this film was so bold, and it really just, again, captivated me. And just watching it, sure, as a man, do I really love Steve Jobs? Not really, but I think every piece to this film got me excited to see it, and it made me even more interested in learning about him because there's still so many unanswered things that obviously couldn't be put into it that I really want to know. So it's really great that a film could do that about somebody that I wasn't really in love with, but the film itself was just spectacular. Number 4, we got Creed, which kind of harkens back to the Star Wars film here, where it's sort of a film that takes a formula and it reinvigorates it for a new generation. This time around, this film just captivated me with that. Ryan Coogler wrote and directed this, or he co-wrote and he directed this. Michael B. Jordan is a star. Sylvester Stallone was incredible, and it's just such an engaging film. The characters are so engaging, and it's such a great world that they established. And it's just, again, it's such a young people film, but such an old school flair with something like the old Rocky movies. I couldn't get enough. Like, I could not get enough. This film was just so great, and there's so many cool things done with like the one-shot fight, and it was just awesome. Now we're in the top 3 films, and at number 3 is my favorite sort of blockbuster of the year, and that is Mad Max Fury Road, a film, oh my god, a film that was absolutely just insane. The stunt work, just the characters. It was a film that just had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. And you know, people online sort of sit back and they go, why is this such a great movie? Because it has no story and there's really no dialogue. But the themes and sort of the characters and the world is so much more rich than something like Jurassic World or, you know, a bunch of other movies that came out this year where it's like, sure, there's actually a story here, but all it is overwhelming CGI, which is just not cool. Super flat characters. These characters, I thought, were incredible, and there's really not that much to them. And I think that's the brilliance and the great mind of George Miller. And it's just incredible. Such an awesome film. Number 2, we're getting into the feels with Inside Out. Pixar is back. Such an incredible film. Pete Docter, who directed and wrote Up, is back for this one, and such a just emotional film, but such a great, powerful one as well. Definitely more of an adult film than like a kid's film, even though there's some fun stuff for kids. And yeah, it was funny. I thought all the characters had great personalities, and it tugged at the heartstrings, just like Pixar always does, because they like to mess with our emotions. But I mean, this film just really got something right. And the fact that Mad Max was my favorite film of the year up until this proved, and this stayed my number 1 for the most part. And everything was great about it. Music, story, and just the outcome is so meaningful and such a beautiful film. But at my number 1, which was somehow topped, Inside Out was somehow topped, was a film that I was expecting to be good. I heard great things about. It was from the director of Frank, which was one of my favorite movies last year. And it starred one of my favorite actresses right now, Brie Larson. Obviously, we know where we're going with this. Room. I don't know what else to say. There's really not a lot to say. I think a lot of what I said about Inside Out can be put into here about the characters and just the emotions. It's a film that I didn't realize was going to get me that choked up. And it's surprising how emotional it is for somebody like me because, you know, I'm not somebody who's a really big emotional person about kids or anything. But it's just, I think the emotions and the rawness of it, and Jacob Tremblay. Also, the kid that was in Beasts of No Nation is the same thing where it's like young actors just dominated this year. And he was just incredible. And again, Brie Larson was absolutely stellar. And it's a film that I didn't even really know what it was going into it. So I was surprised by kind of where it went. So please, if you see this movie, don't know anything about it because you'll be so surprised. But I mean, yeah, that's my favorite film of the year. So what are your guys' favorite films of the year? Are they some of the ones I listed in my honorable mentions or in my list, or are they different? Leave that all in the comments below. If you liked, please like, and please subscribe for other lists and other reviews and all this sort of stuff. And guys, we finally made it, the end of the year. So exciting. Like I told you guys, I'm going to be kind of taking like a week off or so just to kind of regroup, even though I've done that before, so it doesn't really matter too much. But I hope you guys have a great new year, and hopefully you're still having a great holiday as well. And yeah, until the next time we see each other in just a week or so, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for tuning in to Channel BK. Peace out, guys.